Hey, everybody. Welcome to Gaming Golf, brought to you by the folks at WinBet. We appreciate their continuing sponsorship through the golf season here. Jeff Ritter, Scott Jenstad, and Jeff Erickson here to preview the American Express, review the Sony, and maybe go over our season-long draft that we did last week as well. The Sony was a birdie fest, an eagle fest in some cases, many cases, capped off by a brilliant shot by Hideki Matsuyama on the first playoff hole on 18. After we rallied a tie on 18 against Russell Henley. Guys, it was up against the NFL playoffs, but let's face it, a lot of those playoff games were blowouts, so we could spend a good, decent amount of chunk of time watching these games.
Yeah, it was a kind of a dud NFL weekend, right? We don't trash. I don't know if it's good for gaming golf business to just try to go head to head with the NFL, but that wasn't a great NFL weekend. And Sony was awesome.
It was very good for our respective teams. But yes.
I had enough stress and angst in my one NFL game that it made up for all the other ones, though. So
yeah, and me too. Hey, someone sent me a text about a Bengals playoff win for the first time ever. Texting did not exist. It was.
Did you see the clip that the last time the Bengals won a game, the on-field reporter for that game was O.J. Simpson?
I did not see that. That's
amazing.
Wild.
It was him interviewing Sam Weiss after doing their playoff wins that season. I was like, a lot has changed in the world since that clip.
Yes, it has. Yes, it has indeed. Nordberg, as we, he was Nordberg then, and not lovable Nordberg guy. Yeah. It was it was a fun weekend, but it was fun for golf too. It was a good, Some guys missed the cut. Cam Smith, notably, was a big miss. A couple other guys that we expected to contend did not make it. Sung J M did not make it. I used him in one and done because I'm an idiot. I think we even mentioned Russell Henley on this podcast. You guys were over Leishman, and I want to differentiate, and I want to do it in our pool. I used him. Now I've burned him and got nothing and liked it for him.
So you said your one and done pick on the podcast was Russell Henley, and then
I know, and I chickened out. I'm so bad. I'm the worst human ever.
I was all ready to give you props for that pick too, and I got to give props to Jeff Ritter for Kevin Kisner. I said he was overpriced. I didn't like him in the 8,000s. Finished as third, I think. So Ritter had the best of me on that one for sure. That was an excellent pick with Kisner.
Yeah.
Well, it's a President's Cup year. We have to keep that in mind when looking at these guys long term. But yeah, you win some, lose some. I didn't realize. I thought you had Henley in the one and done. I didn't realize.
I know. I should have. Honestly, I think I had Leishman. I was like, oh, these guys are going to totally have Leishman. I'm going to pivot. I forgot that I mentioned Henley, even though I used him in DFS, mind you. But whatever. I do have Hideki in our season-long league, which we did the auction for on Tuesday night. So there's still silver linings everywhere there. But fun draft as always. 15 teams this year. We added Adam Schefter and Kyle Soppe, their partnership there, and adding an extra team makes it a little bit more difficult there. That's 9 more golfers that get drafted, and a little bit I think it lowered the cost of some of the top golfers. None of us were the big spenders. I think I had the highest price guy among the three of us with Brooks at 35, but he was not in the top 10 of golfers in terms of price.
I had a 42 in there, so I was.
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed it. You got DJ. Yeah. Oh, you're profiting off of my mistake from last year. I like it. You got him $13 cheaper than he went last year.
Yeah, and I was very much like I wanted two $30 guys and a $20 guy, but then I just DJ at 42. I just thought was good value off last year, so I adjusted a little bit. But in the a lot of those mid-range guys, Cam Smith we're talking about, he just won. Cam Smith went for $40, which I could not believe. But off the win and off playing well. But I don't know. Give me DJ at 42. I gotta think he wins again this year and live at every major. So I kind of adjust on the fly. I like to get a little more balanced team. I think Jeff Ritter has the more balanced team. And obviously, Jeff, you do too if you're 35 for Brooks. But I bit the bullet there because I like the value.
I've just found in this auction that going for that one superstar can really break your season. And it doesn't necessarily make it either. So every time we've done this auction, I always find myself in that second half going, oh, I wish I had $10 left for that. There's just all the huge bargains, really, whatever bargains there are, seem to happen in the second half. I always find the first half guys kind of go about what you're thinking they're going to go for. So I've recalibrated my strategy over the years of getting beaten up in this league. where I haven't come in last since, maybe my third or fourth year joining, and I've made a couple top threes. So I like the balanced team. There are a couple times I splashed around. I think I was in the JT bidding. I thought 50 was maybe a little low for Thomas. And I was in the Spieth bidding, and that one still stings a little bit because I think he was a bargain at 33 or 34. But other than that, my plan was I'm going to hang in the 20s, low 30s, and just pick off bargains the second half of the draft, which I feel like I was able to do.
Yep.
So
your roster: Sam Burns at 26, Patrick Reed, everybody's favorite lovable cuddly guy, at 25. You got Kisner at 11. So you backed him up. You got him in the tournament too.
Had to.
Yeah. You had the destroyer of tee boxes and Van Rooyen at 9. Gary Woodland Creatures at 9 also. There's some balance there. Na at 7. Palmer at 5. That is a good solid team. Jägermeister has since been dropped. Your first drop of a $4 player, and Patrick Rogers at 4. You did not have a single $1 player, which is quite the opposite of me. I have like 5 $1 players, which I didn't really plan on doing, but actually Seamus Power broke my budget a little bit. I went Koepka 35, Matsuyama 29, and then after that, what else did I do? I did Webb Simpson, which I'm already having some regret on, at 19. He did not have a good weekend. Or he made the cut, but that's about it. But I made up for it with Seamus Power at 9. Kind of a frivolous Phil pickup at 4, and then my $1 guys are Kyle Stanley, Mark Hubbard, Roger Sloan, and John Huh. I'm happiest about Stanley because that was a target. I think he's a good ball striker.
Yeah,
tragic putter, but you just put, why lie? I mean, that was a great place for anybody to putt. You just get it on the green and good things happen.
I think Hideki is really that's one of the lessons. Like Hideki at 29, he's a top 10 player in the world when he's on. I think I undervalued him last year because, it happens a lot where guys win their first major and they go into a little bit of a swoon, like life changes. And I don't know, that's a career that shakes up your career when you win that first major. But Hideki really has not. He's just been on the gas pedal his whole career, really, his whole time out there. He's just such an incredible ball striker that he can travel anywhere. Like 29 is too low for Hideki, and it paid off for you right away last week.
Yeah, I haven't profited yet, but I've made the 29. I feel like book that one win, and then Scott's team. DJ at 42, we talked about that. Berger at 30. That was one I liked, Scott, a lot. We were in a little fire for that one. That one stung too. I'll be watching that. J-Day at 8. We're going to talk about him a little bit more on this podcast today, so I'll save comment then. Keegan Bradley at 6. Aaron Rye at 4. Johnny Vegas, I love that one at 3. I like that. Really like him too. Alex Smalley at 3, Lucas Glover at 2. That's already paid off pretty nicely for you. Yep. And Taylor Moore at 2. So no $1 players for either of you guys, and 4 $1 players for me. So 2 different ways of going. Before we start breaking down this tournament real quick, do you guys find that you want to roster your season-long golfers in DFS?
I do at this time of year because you drafted them, you feel good about them, right? They haven't broken your hearts yet. So I do kind of lean that way where I still feel good. I feel like my gut was right. I want to lean into it and see if we can profit, in more ways than one.
Yeah, I try and separate it, but yeah, I mean, it's always guys that I think are going to have good seasons, so I end up liking for DFS too. I probably went one rookie too many, but I figured we added a couple of drops this year, so I figured I can see how these guys play for 2 or 3 weeks, and then maybe pick up a veteran who's going to play more often. But I kind of wanted to get in on, Smalley and Taylor Moore and Aaron Rye. I think all have some upside, but the thought that these first 3 or 4 weeks, I'll probably end up dropping 1 or 2 of them for someone who's either playing better or a veteran guy. But I think that I wanted to get in now just in case they start hot, and they would be hot pickups otherwise.
Yeah, I wanted to drop Roger Sloan right away. I was immediate regret on that, but I decided against picking up Ha-Tong Lee. I thought about that for a second, and he never plays. So we'll see about that. But it was kind of a sponsor's exemption sort of thing.
Hard to play too often when you end up doing 9 hours at the driving range after every round. It's hard to really play very often.
Right, exactly.
Dude, he never leaves the range. It's crazy.
We share a similar ethic for sure.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump into this week's tournament, the American Express. We're now the contiguous 48 states out of Hawaii. So It's still the West Coast aspect of it there, and I think that's going to be a continuing theme in these next few podcasts. Who plays well out west? And we start off with Palm Springs. We got 3 different courses. We have the amateurs back this year. We have a 54-hole cut. We have some short courses. Should be another birdie fest, but it also should be another one where the rounds take forever because the amateurs playing too.
Yeah, it's a better event to watch on TV than try to play in, right? Because this is just be a grind. But you're right. The stadium course presents some challenges, but the other 2 in the rotation are gettable. You would expect 20 something under par is probably going to win this event. You probably again look at ball striking, but really it's just I think you just look at guys who are just aggressive and can make a lot of birdies, and just when it's time to go low, they go lower. That's really the mentality at this one.
Yeah, it's one of these events where anybody can win. Like a lot of times we get to a major and like there's only so many guys that can really win. There are a ton of guys in this week, and guys from way in the back of the pack have won in the past. But 12 of 13 winners have played in at least one of the 2 Hawaii events coming in. So you got, again, we talked about last week how we like guys playing in the TOC and the Sony. I like guys that have played one tournament already. There are a couple of guys that talked last week, like just kind of getting out there and used to it. That first couple of rounds is big when it's not your first round of the season. The stadium course, it's not really a bomber course. You have to kind of place it, and there's a lot of places you have to lay up. So maybe some of those longer guys can club down. It helps them out, but anybody can win here. Jeff mentioned the winning score. Last 8 years, it's been 20 under or better. So he was right in that range. The easiest par 5s on tour since 2012. You look at overall scoring, the most under par on par 5s on the whole tour is this event right here.
Wow. So you should expect some eagles, and look for the people that can punish those par 5s, right?
Yeah, and La Quinta's back, and La Quinta is like one of the 2 or 3 easiest courses on the whole tour, and it was off. They only did 2 courses last year with some COVID stuff, so it's back. You're going to see that is where we get 59 watches. You allow 61, 62s. It's just one of those things. You got to make sure you get La Quinta your 1 of 3 days, and score on the other courses too.
Indeed. Because of the 3 different courses, I got to imagine if you're doing a first round prop, got to make sure you know where they're playing, because you don't want them on the stadium course. You want them on the other 2.
Or if you're playing Showdown on DraftKings, you want to make sure you rack up the La Quinta guys and the Nicholas course guys. Also, it's just you got to take advantage of that.
Yeah, absolutely. But I got to imagine they're pretty. Yeah, in Showdown, yeah, for like head to heads, they're going to probably more than likely match them up.
They will
against like courses at least. So you got that.
But like DraftKings Showdown, you get everybody in the first round, so it's big. You want to make sure you max out those La Quinta guys.
Yeah. So just as a heads up on that. Let's look at the field. It's a pretty decent field. There's some big names, including the biggest name. Jon Rahm is here. He's at 11-3. Patrick Cantlay is at 10-9. Scotty Scheffler's at 10-6. Tony Finau at 10-2. Scott, we'll start with you today. What interests you out of this tier?
I'm surprised how highly priced Scheffler is. I really like him this season, but I can't pay 10-6. As we'll break down the field, I don't love a lot of guys in the 6, and I love the 9,000 range. So I think I might not be in this range very much. If I had to go somebody, probably give me the $400 savings on Cantlay. Last 3 tournaments, first, and fourth. He's just balling right now, but I could read you 9,000 great things about Jon Rahm too. So you want to pay up for him, I don't have a problem there. But I mean, the last stretch of his tournaments are just unbelievable. He's got 7 top 10s last 8 tournaments. Like that is bonkers good. So yeah, if I'm paying up, it's Rahm or Cantlay. I'm not playing Scheffler or Finau over 10,000, but I think I might sneak in more into the 9s this week.
Cantlay finished with a 61 last year, also the 4th round. So even at the toughest course. Yep.
Yeah, at Stadium. Yeah, I think I would pay up for Cantlay. I mean, I think Rahm, it's hard to really. They're the deserving favorites of this one. They both are really at the peak of their careers, in this moment. I'm tempted to maybe take the discount on Cantlay over Rahm if I had to go off this tier. And I like Cantlay a lot. Not to look too far ahead into the podcast when we make some other predictions, but I like Cantlay a lot this week. I think he's about to start a big year, and this is, it's one of his honey tracks to begin with. I'd go with Cantlay off the tier.
Is there a chance that Rahm goes lesser rostered because of the Cantlay's presence? Because I think Cantlay is going to be like heavily rostered.
I think Rahm will still be a little bit higher, just name brand recognition. But I mean, they'll probably be pretty close. I think a lot of people will start their team with one of these two guys.
Yeah, I'm notoriously bad at predicting ownership. So
if you want low roster though, Scotty Scheffler at 10-6, right in the same range. Like I can't imagine anybody's clicking that one.
Yeah, it's unless you are a major Scheffler partisan. I get it there. I'm with you on that. Okay, second tier, the $9,000 tier. Sung Jae at 9.9. Taylor Gooch 97. When's the last time you saw him at 97? Seamus Power 95. When's the last time you saw him at 95? Friend of the podcast, even though he doesn't realize he's a friend of the podcast, Corey Connors at 94. Matthew Wolf, 93, party of 5, except he wants to be party of 3. Abraham Answer at 92. Will Zalatoris making his season debut or 2022 debut at 91. And Russell Henley at 9,000. How often do you shoot a 65 on Sunday and be considered a disappointment? There you are, Russell Henley.
Henley's he's had some final round bad luck, hasn't he? I mean, he played his way to contention last year, a couple times in majors, didn't happen. I probably still stay away from Henley. It's hard to know off a week like he just had if it's a letdown or if he just kind of still rides the wave of the good form that he showed to get there. Mm-hmm. I'm intrigued by Zalatoris off this tier. I haven't seen him, but at his peak last year, he was worth that price and more. And he was a guy that made a lot of birdies, factored in major championships. There's other guys that I would guess would be rostered more popular off this tier, but I'm sort of intrigued by Zalatoris to try to fire him up this week.
I love this tier. This is my favorite group of the whole tournament here. I'm going to try and start most of my teams with two guys in this level. Love Corey Connors as always, 9,400. I love Matthew Wolf at 9,300. I like Answer at 9,200. Top 20 here the last 3 years and top 5 the last 2 years. And I like Zalatoris too. His first tournament, you worry about that, but the price is pretty decent. I really like him from a betting standpoint. He's way down the odds this week. He's 50-1 this week. I think that anytime you get him at 50-1, I got to do that. But the guy I want to focus on is Wolf at 9,300. First event of the year, but he was top 20 in all 4 events in October, November, 3 top 11s in that group. Really good tee to green in the fall. He's kind of figured out all his mental health stuff, playing really well. I mean, he's a guy that was there with Morikawa and Hovland a couple of years ago. We were talking about the young studs coming up. He won really early, went through some mental health stuff, but he's 8th in birdie or better opportunity gained in this field in the last 24. It's a great stat this week because you got to make birdies this win this week. He's going to murder the par 5s in all 3 of these courses. I love Wolf at 9,300. And I like the other 3 guys too. I think it's a really good range, and I'm going to take 2 of those 4 guys on almost every team.
Earlier, you guys mentioned the 12 of 13 playing one of the Hawaii events. Zalatoris, maybe that his to win odds are higher because of that.
Could be.
Although you would say the same about Wolf, though, I would guess, but that's not true. It's interesting. He's 28, at least on MGM. He's 28-1, whereas Zalatoris is 45-1. Same odds as Justin Rose, which we know is the Jeff Ritter friend of the podcast at least, but I don't know. Maybe we'll address that later. Quick note here from our Blue Wire sponsors. Thank you for indulging that. Blue Wire hosts all of the RotoWire podcasts, including Gaming Golf, so we thank you for that. $8,000 tier. Let's go to Scott in this. Here are the guys: Cameron Tringale, 89; Patrick Reed, 88; Christian Ben Wiesenhut, 87; Justin Rose, 86; Ricky Fowler, 85; Alex Noren, 84; Siwoo Kim, 83, the defending champ; Carlos Ortiz, 82; Johnny Vegas, 81; and Luke List and Charles Howell at 8,000. Scott, what jumps out here?
What jumps out is how little I like this range. These are all guys that usually are in the 7,000s. I hate to pay in the 8,000s for them, but if I'm going to do it, you gotta get somebody in here. 2 guys at the bottom of the range. I'm going to play some Johnny Vegas at 8,100. Finished well in the fall. He's 9th tee to green in this field in the last 24 rounds, so hitting the ball really well. I do like him a little more on Bombers courses, but maybe he can kind of club down and hit more fairways. But I think he's very playable, 8,100. And the guy that I keep going back and forth on is Luke List. He's hitting the ball really well right now. His putter is always a disaster. He's lost strokes gained putting in 8 of the last 9 tournaments. But you look at some of the key stats here. He's at 4th in the entire field in birdie or better percentage gain in the last 24 rounds. He's 3rd in tee to green. He's just playing really well. He's top 11 in 3 of his last 4 events in the fall season. He's a little risky for a guy in the 8,000 just because the putter can always go fully sideways. But I'm maybe playing some of him. I think he's got actual top 10 chances here. I like List and Vegas in this range.
Yeah, I mean, I have Patrick Reed on my season-long team, as we said. It was not for this week. This is not. I think Patrick Reed has actually won this event, but usually he misses the cut, if I'm not mistaken. It's been a while since I played the weekend. I'm bullish on a Ricky Fowler comeback season, but not 8,500 this week. I kind of like Carlos Ortiz this season, but I don't like, it's his first time back, and I believe he took a couple months off to rehab an injury. So yeah, there's more. You said it, Scott. There's more not to like in the 8,000 tier than there is to like. Charles Howell. I mean, we're not in Hawaii anymore, so you got to kind of you pick your spots with Howell. Although he is a cut making machine at certain tracks. So I don't know. I guess if I was going to pick one, I might just lean into Christian Bezuidenhout, a name that I'm practicing because I think I'm going to be saying it a lot this year. He's just a player on the rise that I just like the general trend of his career. I'm not sure that he's necessarily a great course fit, but just go in the right direction. If I had to pick someone off this tier, I'd go for him.
Yeah, I like him too. I was actually a little surprised you didn't think he belonged in this tier because, I mean, he just never misses cuts. He's one of the better golfers there. I think he's earned this spot. But I think he stood out to me in this tier. I do like getting the discount, getting a guy like List instead. I get that. But at the same time, I thought he was at least, I'm glad you mentioned him there. So $7,000 tier. Again, too numerous to name all of them. So let's just go right to it here. Jeff Ritter, who do you like in the $7,000 tier?
This is one of the tournaments I sort of flagged in the back of my head at the auction. I think Gary Woodland, is a lost season for him. Won a major a couple years ago, and then it's just injury plagued sort of mess last year. But
yeah,
I think he's a guy. He's got a big game. He's got a major championship. He's healthy. I think it's a bounce back year. I could see it starting this week. I think that's a really he's priced like it's last year still, which I understand he hasn't done it yet, but. I think getting him under 8,000 is that is tempting. And the other guy I'd give you is a guy that's trending up or just consistently been trending up. I think Harold Varner is going to win somewhere this year. He's been splashing around at some of the bigger field events. We've seen him pop up on leaderboards on weekends at majors. I think he's due. I wouldn't be surprised if he contends this weekend as well.
Scott?
I got two in the upper 7,000s, two in the lower that I like. The first one was Varner, so I'll just go on that quick. I just think he's playing. We don't know how he hasn't played that this year, but we finished really strong. He had 4 top 16s in the last 6 tournaments, so he's playing really well. And I think the price is pretty good here. But we talk about ball striking. You look at Lucas Glover last week; he finished 5th. But you look at the ball striking, it was insane. He gained 9.4 shots tee to green, 9.5 on shots gains approach, like 2 key stats in any tournament. He led the field in tee to green. He absolutely massacred the field approach. I think the next guy was in the 6s. Like it wasn't even close to him winning that category. So I think it's 7,600 coming off a really good week at Sony. It's Lucas Glover. He can always let us down, but I think in the 7,000, I think he's a really solid play for a guy who's absolutely just striking the ball great right now. And then 2 young guys in the bottom here. I like Taylor Moore at 7,300. He was a guy that was really good on the Korn Ferry Tour last year. 13 finishes in the top 15. He had a pretty good showing in the swing season. He finished 8th at the RSM, gained 5.4 strokes on tee to green in that tournament. He played 4 events in October, November, 3 top 25s. He had 1 missed cut, but 3 top 25s shows me he's ready to maybe not win right away, but compete right away. And I like him at 7,300. And my final guy is a guy that I mentioned last week, and he worked out really well. Hayden Buckley is at 7,200, 12th at Sony, and really hit the ball well, gained 5.6 on tee to green, 3.9 off the tee. His last 5 events, you look at it, 4th, 8th, and 12th in there. Like that's 3 really good showings for Buckley, a good up-and-coming young player, showing some legit upside. And again, 7,200, give me a guy that has a chance to make the top 10. I think that Buckley has that chance.
Just give me that chance. I actually like him too. I want to bring up a narrative one. I'm stealing from the Jeff Ritter wheelhouse here, but Jason Day has never, at least in the last 10 years, has not played this tournament at all. There's no course history that I can find. He's all about the Farmers. He's all about the Northern Trust. However, he is. This is going. I guess this isn't really narrative as much as that. I guess I'm making it a narrative, but. If going according to PGA Splits 101, a good Twitter account you should follow. A lot of good stuff there. He's really good on the West Coast recently too. He's also really good at shorter courses versus like the rest of his data set. If there's a time Jason Day is going to perform, it's on the West Coast swing. But we have zero course history with him. We have nothing. It's really weird, but he's priced at 7,300. That's enough for me. That's low enough for me to want to find out. I know that there's not much recent form to go with, and there's no course history. So it's kind of a prayer. But at 7,300, an accomplished golfer like him, I think it's worth taking a chance. What do you guys think?
It's all about health, right? I mean, just so many injuries throughout the years. I think it's a great bet at that price. Like you said, it doesn't really hurt you. It doesn't kill you if he misses the cut, but not only could he make the cut, but there's upside. What if he's back? I think that's a great call. You just think about it too. Like Jason Day on the West Coast, seems like he's been on every Pebble Beach leaderboard, like for a decade. This is his time of year where if he's right, he tends to show it. So don't know if La Quinta or, the stadium course is the spot, but I like that pick.
And you call it a prayer, but like usually when we have a prayer, we're like hoping guys make the cut. Like Jason Day could like legit win this tournament. I mean, he's a guy. Right. I mean, obviously health is key, but yeah, 7,300 is hard to find guys. With this sort of history. Obviously, it is on health, like Ritter mentioned. But yeah, I like it. I actually took him in our season long. Yeah, I think we're gonna get a bounce back year. I saw a video with him talking about how much he's working out. And he's looked really good and feeling really good. Obviously, he's not going to.
Oh, you're watching workout videos now.
I'm watching workout videos. It's the I can't remember the guy. Gregory Polanco in baseball is that's how I ended up with him, and it never works out because he's always like working out in the Dominican. He looks yoked and sweating, and I'm always fired up, and it never works. But
it worked with Cespedes. It worked with Cespedes. That's the original, but
as long as you're not watching boar wrangling videos on Cespedes, you're probably good because that didn't work out quite as well. But it looked like Day was healthy and really working out, so I like that. I think he's in line for a big year. I think I want to see how he looks first before I put too much money into it. But 7,300, I think it's worth a stab.
Yeah, I think so too, and sometimes it's good to know a guy in the cheap range that you can build in. Start with, and that gives you some buffer to build like $9,000 guys, or maybe squeeze in a high 8,000 instead of like if I'm big on Bezuidenhout, for instance, there you find that lower price guy, and that makes it fit a little bit better too. Sure. Let's go with the real stabs here, the 6,000s. Again, too voluminous to mention. This is a full field tournament, but it's a 54 hole cut, so meaning you get 3 days of these guys. Maybe it's okay to take a risk in here. Who do we like here? Scott, who do you like?
So, yeah, your point on the 54-hole cut is really important. I think you're more willing to take a stab down here because even if a guy barely misses the cut, you get 3 rounds of scoring at him. And the key is you only miss out on 1 round, whereas usually you miss out on 50% of the scoring. So, very important. There's not a ton of names down here that I like. These low 7 guys I like a little bit more, but there's 2 guys that I do like in the high 6s. The first is Dylan Wu at 6,900. He finished 20th Sony last week, but you look at his stats and he just hit the ball great. He gained 7.1 strokes tee to green, 5.4 approach. The guy that made the cut at the U.S. Open last year, he finished 31st, so like a pretty good showing at Torrey last year. Played 4 swing events, made 3 cuts. So I think Wu is a guy that you really can play, and I think he's got a really good chance to make the cut. And the other guy is Davis Reilly, who also finished 20th Sony. He's 6,800. He got a little bit too much help on putting that really helped his week, but did gain 2.1 on approach. But he's third in the field in the last 24 rounds in birdie or better gain. I talked about that earlier. A stat that I really like this week: you got to make birdies, you got to get into positions to make birdies, and he's third in the entire field when you look in the last 24 rounds. So I love that stat right there. 6,800 for Davis Reilly. I consider a really solid play.
I notoriously drafted Davis Reilly last year without realizing he was barely ever going to get a chance to play. So he's playing a little bit more this year.
Yeah.
Jeff?
So I'll defend my pickup from our fantasy league. I made an early move. I became disenchanted with Steven Yeager after 1 week and a miscut. There's just a lot of young guys that, if you can just get lucky on a poker chip, early in the year or something in these season-long leagues. And so Sahith Thigala is the college player of the year, won everything you can win as a collegiate at Pepperdine. Earned his way onto the tour through the Corn Ferry Tour. I had him on my list. I saw he didn't get drafted, and I just thought it was just eating at me that he wasn't on a team. And so I put him on my season-long roster. I don't know if this is the week, but I like that he got sort of indoctrinated to the PGA Tour last fall. He was the leader, I believe, on the weekend at the Sanderson briefly. He's been a top 10, but I think he even had a taste of the lead. So guys like that, I think back to like a Bryson DeChambeau or just decorated AMs, college players who they just need time. on the tour to get comfortable. And so he's someone that, you know, his collegiate success just jumps off the page. Is just like, you know, a level above his competition there. I just think maybe as the year goes by, it's going to be someone to watch. So I wanted in early. I'm not sure this is the week, but I'll be watching.
Okay, very good. I'm going to throw out Matthew Neesmith. I didn't make the cut here, but another good West Coast player at 6,800. I think he's actually a pretty decent ball striker too. I don't think he'll monkey around. No, nothing. Okay.
I was trying to figure out if the monkey was a joke on his name, and I don't think it was.
It was.
What's the joke?
The monkeys.
Oh, I was going James Naismith, inventor of basketball. I didn't. The monkeys.
Come on.
The only reason I didn't respond is I was trying to figure out the pun, and I realized that I'm not nearly old enough to get it. So there we are.
Force the pun. You are just as old as I am, or almost.
I like to blame your bad references on being too old, though. So it makes it more fun.
Yeah. I mean, what are you? What? 53?
56 this year. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. So that's one. I don't know how much I'm going to be in this tier. I'll probably be in the 7s more than I will be in the 6s, because I think you can get enough 7s to afford what you want. Maybe go multiple there and still not be that far behind the field. Let's move to a gaming perspective real quick, because we're running a little long. Jeff, what do you like this week on the gaming side of things?
I'm going for the straight ticket bets. I like that Willie Z bet a lot. Golf Odds has him 50-1. You said you saw him 45-1. That seems like a value. I also like Matthew Wolff a lot. I forgot to mention him in my earlier spiel, but I think he's another guy. He's got it sorted out, and his game. He's got a big enough game to win again and win soon. Now that he's back out there, I show him 30-1. I would take that. And then I would stay with Gary Woodland, who I show at 80-1. He's also kind of a West Coast guy. He's another guy that just flashes early in the year often, if he's right. So that's where I would head with the single ticket bets.
Scott?
Yeah, Jeff and I are on the same page on some of these here. I like Zalatoris at 50-1 too. I just think it's a good value for how good of a player he is. I know we don't have any recent form right now, but I think he's so solid that we get a flash here pretty good. I'm definitely betting Matthew Wolff. I am at 28-1 on DraftKings right now. So be it on that. And then the kind of way it works out, I can take one more guy in this range. It's tough. I like Answer at 25 and Connors at 22. I don't think I'll be able to live with myself if I don't go take Connors and he wins. So I think I'm going to side there at 22-1. So Connors, Wolff, and Zalatoris, and then I'm going to drop down for a couple of late darts. Lucas Glover, 130-1, I think is worth a couple bucks, just based on how well he hit the ball last week. And then I'm going to stick with Hayden Buckley another week, 130-1, couple bucks there. I think it's a guy that really showed well last week, a young guy that could take a step up. And this is a kind of tournament where someone like that can win. You get guys from deep in the pack that do win at this tournament. So Glover and Buckley on the darts. I wish Taylor Moore was a little bit less. I think people have bet him down. He's 80-1, so I wish he was in the Glover and Buckley range also. But Connors, Wolff, Zalatoris on the top, kind of mid-range and middle. And then Glover and Buckley at the back. I can't believe John Rahm's 5-1 to win a full field event. That's a crazy line. It's well deserved, but my 5-1 144 man event is just crazy. You don't see that very often.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, yeah, you're not getting any sort of value out of it there.
Yeah.
I like many of those. I would, if I were in Vegas, I might throw a shekel at Harold Varner at 90-1. And I mentioned Jason Day already. I think those are two that I'd be interested in. In addition,
what's Day at right now?
I think at least according to BetMGM, he's also at 90-1.
Oh, I got him 130-1 on DraftKings.
So that's good. So this is why. And hey, there's a lesson here.
Yep.
Go shop those odds. I agree. I see Day there right now.
Yeah,
yep.
I just add him for $3 with Glover and Buckley. I think I've got to do it on Day just in case he's ready. And
BetMGM doesn't have odds for Varner, so at least not where I'm looking, at least. So maybe that's changed on the actual site. I'm looking at RotoWire has betting odds. If you go to RotoWire/golf/sports betting, you can show all the recent odds from multiple sports books. So make sure you do some shopping around before you plunk down. You might find yourself a deal. One and done. Jeff Ritter, what do you got?
Well, Patrick Cantlay is going to win the event, so I'm going to go ahead and not. One of the mistakes I made in the one and done last year is I left too many bullets in the chamber for majors, right. And I'm just going to take a great player who's playing great right now. I'm going to go Patrick Cantlay to win.
It's a good overall point on one and dones too. Because if you use somebody and they win, like who cares if you use them? Like that is a gigantic win. Getting wins is so hard. Like people always say, people majors, if you use Cantley and misses the cut, yeah, that screws you and that's bad. But if you use him and he wins, like who cares who won? Like it's just a huge edge when you get.
Do you draw the line at Rahm though? I mean, you wouldn't use Rahm here, would you?
I'm probably not, because I just don't think. I think it's a little. I don't think he's going to win. I think that 5-1's insane, but. Yeah, if you want to use him, but yeah, I mean, I think Rahm in majors is big, but I just contradict myself. But if you think he's going to win, I have no issue doing it. Like if you think he's going to win, I just I don't see it this week. I'm going to go Matthew Wolff actually as my one and done. Like him to bet. I really like the form we saw in the fall. I don't love they didn't play one of the two events last week. That's a little concerning, but I kind of in these events I want a really good player, but not an elite guy. So I think it's I think Wolff's gonna be my one and done pick. But yeah, I mean if Cantley wins, go for it, and it's I can't argue that either.
So I'm writing down my one and done pick this time. So
are you actually going to then click the mouse and enter it in the pool, though?
Yes, I am.
All right.
Corey Connors, come on down. Everybody's favorite Canadian.
Love it.
And yeah, so I wrote it down this time. It's going in. So there you go. All right. Parting thoughts. Anything else before we go?
No, just looking forward to this event. I hope with 3 courses we don't see too much of the slow play and amateur stuff. But I don't know. I know there's shot link on 2 of the 3 courses, which makes it tough to kind of figure out how well guys are playing. But I'm hoping they have cameras on 2 of the 3 courses. But usually, I remember it was I forget who it was 2 years ago or 3 years ago. Someone was like about to get a 59. They had to like run cameras over the course. So it's always a tough event. These courses. You hope you see enough stuff.
This and Pebble both. You never get to see I would love to see more of Spyglass, and we never get to. But anyways.
Yeah, Spyglass is awesome, by the way.
That's what I hear.
I'll never be able.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not connected like you, so I can't get on there. So we'll see.
I can get you free lodging if you ever want to play.
Oh, I'm in. I'm definitely in.
You have to bunk up with my mom and her boyfriend, but we're good.
Let's road trip, dude.
It's still free.
Still worth it. All right, Jeff, any parting thoughts before we go?
I'm excited to see Rahm again this week. I just think he's starting to reach that next level. You know, none of us picked him in the one and done, but he's really like, you know, continuing last summer and through the Ryder Cup, he was unbelievable. I'm excited to just sit back and watch him as well this week because he's really taking his game to a new place.
Feels like it's been a long time since we had a very, very clear number 1 in the world, and I think he's very clear number 1 in the world.
Absolutely agree. I love watching him play, even if I'm rooting against him. Like, dude, he's so good. Like, you know, like we both had Cam Smith going in like Kapalua, but you got to appreciate Rahm. Just never misses. It's amazing. All right, that's going to end up today's pod. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Thanks for listening. If you want to help us out, you're watching this on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button there. You can watch us whenever you want. You'll get notifications when any of the RotoWire golf tent comes up there. It helps us a lot. It helps with that algorithm there. So please click that subscribe button on YouTube for RotoWire Golf. Thanks for listening. Good luck in your tournaments this week. Take care.